If you're migrating to New Zealand, you will know that Immigration New Zealand are always changing their rules. And this year is no different. We have got some really exciting news about the Skilled Migrant Category and the changes expected in 2026.
People, particularly in those trades and technician roles, from being able to apply for residence. So there was this massive gap that we've had for about the last 3 years where people weren't eligible under the straight to residence or the work to residence category.
So let's sit back and chat with Charlotte, our favourite immigration advisor from NZ Shores, and find out what those changes are. NZ Ahead, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Got it.
Charlotte, welcome back to the NZ Ahead podcast. We are thrilled to have you here as always.
Thank you so much for having me again. I'm thrilled to be back.
You're our favourite immigration advisor down there at NZ Shores, and today we're going to be talking about some exciting news that's happening in August 2026 for the visa of...
The Skilled Migrant Visa.
Yes, the Skilled Migrant Resident Visa.
That was the only bit I had to talk about, and I got it right.
Yeah. So let's jump on in. What's happening? What's new, Charlotte? What's going on?
Yeah, so like you said, in August 2026, we are seeing a revamp of our long-standing Skilled Migrant Resident Visa. So a lot of people will know what the Skilled Migrant Category is. A lot of people who are looking at migrating to New Zealand will have seen this visa previously. You've probably seen it on the immigration website. You've probably seen people talking about it in the Slack group or Facebook forums. It has been traditionally our most common pathway to residence for probably about 90% of skilled migrants. That's probably changed slightly now that we've got the likes of the straight to residence category in there as well. But this Skilled Migrant Resident Visa is kind of our catch-all residence category for skilled migrants that don't fit into one of those other long-term skill shortage lists or green lists. So if you're not eligible under one of those particular categories, chances are you're either currently eligible or you will be eligible from August 2026 when these new changes come in.
Fantastic. And we were just talking off camera before, and you were saying it's making it easier for people to, which is always such relief, because it's not the easiest country, is it?
Super easy in my day to a degree when you see what people have to go through nowadays.
Yeah.
We were just saying that mine was 90 days. I had to work in the trade for 90 days, even though I worked in it for the next 10 years. Doesn't really matter, does it? You know?
No.
But what's the main sort of change?
So the main changes that are coming in is they're broadening the criteria of who is eligible. So we saw a big change after the border opened in 2022, where government at that time, their aim was to simplify how this category worked, because it used to be points-based. So you'd be able to claim points for age, and you'd be able to claim points for job offer and qualification and work experience and long-term skill shortage lists. And the way that points were claimed was quite complex. So their aim was to simplify it, which they did to some degree. But in that simplification, they actually excluded a large number of people, particularly in those trades and technician roles, from being able to apply for residence. So there was this massive gap that we've had for about the last 3 years where people weren't eligible under the straight to residence or the work to residence categories, but they then also weren't eligible under the skilled migrant category because they kind of had slipped through some cracks. And those people who were eligible were often having to work in New Zealand for up to 3 years before being able to apply for residence. And 3 years is a long time. So like you said, for you, it was for 90 days. So to then have to work in a country and, you know, pay tax and live here and live with that uncertainty for 3 years was a long time before actually knowing you can go ahead and apply for that residency. So they've loosened the criteria, they've broadened it as to who can apply, and they've made it a lot more favourable in the fact that the longest amount of time that you will have to work in New Zealand is up to 2 years now, which is great. So we're kind of seeing it return a little bit to almost what older policy looked like to some degree.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. So just to be clear, because that was a lot for me to take in then, I just want to simplify it. So just to be clear, if I am a diesel mechanic coming over to New Zealand, I get a job offer in
in a mechanic shop,
in a diesel mechanic place, and I get the job, and I can now I have to work for 2 years, but after 2 years I can apply for my residency to stay in New Zealand. Is that right?
So yes, diesel mechanics actually do fall into our green list, so they're possibly not the best example.
Oh, okay, all right.
But a good example is actually the likes of our builders. So builders were one of those occupations that kind of just fell away because it was they weren't on those green lists, and often their pay rates weren't high enough to qualify under the current settings that we have for the skilled migrant category, and they didn't have a bachelor's degree, so they fell through these gaps. So for someone like a builder, they will potentially only have to work for 24 months in the country now before they are able to apply. I have got a very shiny slideshow that I have prepared so we can go through each, I guess, category to simplify it, because it'll give us some really good examples, and then as we go through that, I can add occupations where that might be relevant. There's a lot of information for everyone to take in today, so maybe I'll share that now.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. Yeah.
We're going to be like a proper podcast now, Brad. We've got a slideshow and everything,
and still
real people.
We're still here in the corner. Look,
can't believe it.
We've moved, and now you get to look at my amazing handiwork on my slideshow.
Fantastake, right?
You take it away. Our beautiful little. Everyone needs a title page, don't they? So. For those of you who don't know a lot about us, we are New Zealand Shores. We have, of course, been across a number of different podcasts with you guys, but we were founded in 2009, so we've been around for a long time. We have both New Zealand advisors and Australian advisors, so if you're listening to this and you think, actually, Aussie sounds like a better shout, we can also help in that space as well.
Sure.
But we won't be your friends, though. We won't be your friends if you go to Australia. That's it.
Maybe we'll go to Australia and do a podcast there with you, and then we can talk about Australia.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry, Charlotte.
I'd be keen. No, you're fine. I think New Zealand's better anyway. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, we do love the Aussies, though.
Yeah, we do.
We do. So one of the biggest changes that's coming in August is we actually have 2 brand new pathways completely under the Skilled Migrant Resident Visa, and this is where we see particularly criteria opening up to a lot of different people who haven't been eligible for kind of the last 2 or 3 years. So those 2 new pathways, one is called the Skilled Work Experience pathway, and this is fairly general. So you must work in what we call a skilled ANSCO role. So ANSCO is a classification system which immigration use to classify occupations and their skill level. So skill level 1 is the likes of our doctors, lawyers, CEOs, senior managers. You kind of get the picture as to what a skill level 1 looks like, and then our tradesmen fall in skill level 3. Skill level 2, obviously there's a bunch of different stuff in there, but chances are if you have working in some kind of trade, or you're working in some kind of professional role, your role will fall in between ANSCO skill levels 1 and 3. So if you fall into that list, that's awesome. You then are eligible. So you then have to have at least 5 years of directly relevant skilled work experience. Now, directly relevant doesn't mean you have to, let's say, we could use a builder. We could use a builder, for example. You don't actually necessarily have to have been working as a builder for a total of 5 years. You could have started off working as a labourer and then moved into that building role. So the work experience just has to be relevant. It doesn't have to be a direct match. And at least 2 years of that work experience out of your 5 has to be obtained in New Zealand. So theoretically, if you had no previous work experience as a builder, but you came to New Zealand on a 5-year accredited employer work visa, you could actually get your entire cohort of 5 years work experience in New Zealand, or you can use a mix of offshore work experience and onshore work experience. If you had 10 years work experience outside of New Zealand, you then only have to work in New Zealand for 2 years before you're eligible to apply. The one catch with the skilled work experience pathway is you must be earning 1.1 times the median wage. So that is slightly higher than the minimum to get a work visa in New Zealand, and that is $36.92 at the moment. Bear in mind, median wage does change. So median wage typically goes up sometime in the middle of the year every year. So what it is now, when you're listening to this, if you're listening to this in 12 months time after it's released, just make sure you check in and see exactly what that wage rate is.
With that type of wage, it just means that you are skilled, and what I'm trying to say is I've employed people, and you can't just you can't get a job for $24.
Yeah.
Like minimum wage.
Just working for my mate, like cashing out.
Yeah, no, that's it. And that's what I think is hard for people for companies to take them on, because they go, well, I can employ that guy for $25 an hour. I've got to pay you $36 an hour. So it's just to be aware of that when you're applying for a job. Yeah.
Yeah. Immigration do put checks and balances in place, though. So there is a lot of, I guess, ignorance throughout New Zealand that migrants can be paid less and that's why Kiwis love hiring them. And that's not true. So you do have to be paid what we call market rate for a role. So if market rate for your role is, let's say, $50 an hour, immigration will actually look at that. And if your employer is trying to offer you $36.92, they'll say, hang on, actually, the standard rate throughout the country is $50 an hour. So it is a myth that migrants can be paid less, and immigration, it's part of their commitment to migrants to make sure that people aren't being exploited, that you will actually be paid the correct wage for that role. And with work visas, a lot of that assessment is actually done at the job check stage. So before you even get to applying for a work visa, that will be checked as well. So don't worry that you'd be ripped off.
Yeah. Here because you love New Zealand.
You might be moving to New Zealand,
living in New Zealand, or you might just spend your days dreaming of visiting this gorgeous country. Because we love New Zealand as much as you do, we have compiled a short and very unique 5-day video series showcasing life in New Zealand, what it's really like. These videos are real, they are exclusive, and best of all, they're absolutely free. So if you would like to view New Zealand from the inside out and find out what life is really like down here, sign up now, and every day for 5 days we will send you a personal 3-minute video showcasing some brilliant aspect of life in New Zealand. You are gonna love it. Go to www.nzimmigration.com/free. We can't wait to share those videos with you. Okay, let's get back on with the show. Right, following on.
Our second new pathway. So this one is one I'm actually probably more excited about than the first. So like I mentioned, with the policy that came in after COVID, a lot of our tradies fell through the gaps. So like I said, if you weren't on those green lists and you didn't have a bachelor's degree or higher, it was incredibly, incredibly hard to get residence in New Zealand. There is obviously, as you'll see, there's still 3 points you have to be aware of to be eligible. You do still have to fit in that ANSCO skill level 1 to 3, but most tradesmen and technicians will fall in skill level 3, so there's very little concern there. You do also have to have a relevant level 4 qualification. So when we talk about a level 4 qualification, that is typically our standard apprenticeship level or red seal type qualification. So most of our tradies have a level 4. Even if in your country it's called something different, chances are in New Zealand it would be assessed as a level 4 qualification. Typically studied for 3 to 4 years is, I guess, kind of the threshold you can use. So if you've done an apprenticeship and it's 4 years, it will be level 4. If you've gone and studied a polytechnic or similar for a 4-year period, you're likely at a level 4 or higher. So don't worry too much about that. You must have at least 4 years of work experience after you have completed your trade or your qualification. And that, again, work experience must be directly relevant to that. So you couldn't go try and apply for residence as a builder, but then you've been working in a supermarket, for example. So the work experience has to be relevant. You have to work in New Zealand for 18 months at the median wage. So median wage at the moment is $33.56. So to me, this is actually quite an easy one to meet if you are a tradie or a technician. There will be a specific list released of what those trades and technician roles are. We don't have the list yet. Being Immigration New Zealand, will probably only release it sometime close to actually releasing the new policy. So we will post updates on our website, and as soon as we know, I'll definitely let, obviously, Liz and Brian know. We can probably do another podcast on that once we've got that
just an
information.
And we can get another shiny list of people then, can't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
do you think
I
they've
can make
added
another PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to have added loads more of trades to the list?
So they will. So it'll be much broader than what the green list is at present. So the green list is very much about roles which are in high demand and really, really hard to recruit in New Zealand. This will open it up quite significantly. So this will affect a lot of like our fitter turners, our CNC machinists, builders, anyone who's kind of in some kind of trade that doesn't fit a really particular category will fall under this list. So it will be a lot broader. It could be 100 occupations. We're just not sure yet exactly.
It'll be exciting to see who's been added.
Yeah, because it always used to fascinate me that plumbers were allowed in as a skilled migrant, but gas fitters weren't. You could get a work permit but you couldn't go to residency through gas fitting. And I always thought that was more of a skilled trade than what plumbing was.
Yeah,
you know, it was on the job skill shortage, but it wasn't. There was no pathway to residency through it.
It's definitely dangerous. So yeah, the likes of gas fitters will 100%. I mean, that's definitely a trade. So I mean, look, I don't know. We could place a bet on it, but I'm pretty sure.
I know.
gas fitters will be on
You
that
just never
list.
know the way that they're going to do it, do you? Yeah.
No. The good thing at the moment is that our current immigration minister is really receptive to feedback, though. So I know a lot of this stuff went out to industry, not only us as immigration advisors, but it went out to wider industries, all the different trades, and people got a really good chance to provide feedback. So I do know for a fact she had a lot of different working groups to give advice on this stuff. So she has definitely listened, probably more so than any other immigration minister we've had, as to what is actually happening, what's happening in New Zealand, where are these gaps, who is actually missing out on residency. And even we email her with questions and suggestions, and she's really onto it. So I think what we will see delivered here is going to be good.
Great.
Maybe you could just share a link to this podcast and she could like and subscribe. There you go.
Mate, I'll try.
She could just call me and say, what else do you think, Bri?
Exactly. You guys are probably at the forefront of knowing what's happening.
That's true.
Okay, next, Charlotte, what else is happening?
Next. So I guess the second thing or the third thing they're doing is they are revamping the existing criteria. So the skilled migrant category outside of these two new pathways it's still points based. We moved from claiming 180 points based on all of those complex factors, like I mentioned, age, work experience, qualifications, all of those things, to then claiming a total of 6 points. So yes, they've simplified it, but like I said, it kind of excluded a whole lot of people. So they've revamped the 6 point criteria. So I will go through, you can claim either 6 points, 5 points, 4 points, or 3 to be eligible at this stage, and they are revamping that slightly. So I will go through each slide is just giving an outline of what is coming in August. So I haven't included the current criteria because even we're assessing people based on what's happening in August of this year, because most people wouldn't even be eligible, like new migrants wouldn't even be eligible for residence under these categories typically till this new policy comes out anyway. So the 6 points means if you fit one of these criteria, you can actually apply directly for residence. So this is really hard to meet. There aren't too many people that will meet this criteria at present, but they are opening it up. So from August, if you have a PhD, which has been obtained either in New Zealand or outside New Zealand, or you have come to New Zealand, studied and obtained a master's degree here in the country, once you've got skilled employment, you can actually go ahead and apply for residence immediately. So this one I'm really excited about because we've had a lot of people come in the last kind of 12, 18 months under the study pathway, particularly for master's degrees, because masters in themselves offer really cool benefits once you are here and studying. So now those people will be able to apply for residence as soon as they've completed their qualification and have skilled employment in New Zealand. So this is the key factor with the skilled migrant residence category and any residence category based on you being a skilled migrant is you must have a job offer in New Zealand. So that's our first change. The second one is having income of 3 times the median wage. Now this is high, so this is sitting up at circa around $190,000 per year. So obviously if you're coming into the country and someone is willing to pay you a salary at that level, you're incredibly skilled. Immigration want to give you residence quickly because we want to retain you. The third one, now I haven't gone into a list on any of these as to what these occupational registrations are, but there are some people who hold a form of occupational registration. So it could be doctors, lawyers, chartered accountants sit in this list. The thing with these occupational registrations is often a lot of these people have quicker pathways to residency under other categories. So I haven't gone and listed them because 9 times out of 10, rather than applying under the skilled migrant category, you've actually got better options elsewhere that are easier to meet. So I just recommend to people, if you think particularly you fall into that occupational registration category, reach out and we'll look at whatever those quicker pathways are for you. Any questions on that one?
who is being paid $100 an hour? That's what I want to know. What they're doing, because I'm going to go and do that job.
Yeah, I know.
A PhD or an NZ Masters, I suppose. So it would be, it's going to be, well,
it's
a doctor.
We don't,
there you go.
Yeah, we don't see a huge number of people. I mean, for a really good example in that situation that would tick both the income box and the 6+ years of training would be doctors. So our doctors typically get paid well over that threshold, but they're easier, faster pathway to residencies under the straight to residence category. So in that situation, we'd say, yes, you tick the income box, yes, you tick the registration box, but actually this other visa is a lot easier to apply for. Otherwise, it's typically like very, very high level people in the IT space that are kind of meeting that criteria.
Yeah, we're glad that the doctors are being paid that much because they deserve it. And I'm glad that you just said what you just said as well about don't get, because you could look at this and think, well, that's me out, because there's no way, I'm a builder or a hairdresser or whatever, and I'm not going to be earning that much. So I'm glad that you've made it clear. Look, don't be frightened off by that, because there are other things that you can do to get your points. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll lead us into the next one, where we then look at the options for 5 points. So for those people who fit the criteria where they can claim 5 points, to get their 6th point to be eligible, you have to work in New Zealand for 12 months. So you get your 5 points from one of this criteria, and then 12 months work experience equals 1 point. So they have changed it slightly in that master's degrees obtained outside of New Zealand, or New Zealand master's degrees where you haven't got a prior bachelor's degree. So that might sound a bit confusing, but there are a couple options in New Zealand where universities offer what we call pre-master's courses. So you can go and actually do the pre-master's course without already holding a bachelor's degree, and then obtain the master's degree by kind of skipping a step. So those people who go through that pathway would be eligible for 5 points rather than the 6. So that is just a little catch to be aware of if you are looking at this as an option. But if you've obtained your master's degree outside of New Zealand, then you're also eligible for those 5 points. It's largely qualifications based, this criteria. So the key changes are bachelor's degrees obtained in New Zealand are now worth 5 points, whereas they used to be worth 3. And then the honours degrees, postgraduate diplomas used to be worth 4 points, and now they're worth 5. So basically they're trying to encourage people to come and study in New Zealand, which feeds into their current initiative of increasing fee paying students in the country. So that's also another great pathway, which we have another podcast on, which I'd 100% go and recommend listening to if that's something you're interested in. Awesome pathway, and now they're trying to reward you. So you've come to New Zealand, you've studied, you've paid lots of money to do so. Here's a much quicker pathway to residency. And then you'll see that I've again put some occupational registrations requiring 5 years of training, but again, a lot of those people will fit into much easier categories than this one. So by all means, feel free to reach out for that list. I'm happy to flick through the link to it, but I think focus on the other criteria before you start looking at that one. And as mentioned, 12 months work experience in New Zealand with your skilled employment, and then you can apply.
That's all pretty clear. That's all clear.
It is. It's just that catch-22, isn't it? You've got to get a job, but you need the skills in New Zealand. So how do you get the job without the skills in you? It's just like that side of it. I just think sometimes it's just tie themselves up.
In a downer. Very positive news.
It's not. It's just that was the hardest part, to get those extra point, or the 1 point that you need. It used to be 20 points back in the day, but I know the point system has completely and utterly changed. But they're hard points to get,
Yeah.
It is. I mean, with any residence category based on skilled employment, getting the job is the hardest hurdle. So once you've got the job and you're in the country and you're working on your work visa, you've already done the hard bit. You just have to kind of do your time, so to speak, before you can apply. But most employers who are looking at offshore migrants, they're hiring you not because you have New Zealand work experience. They're hiring you because you've got proven work experience in your field. They know you can turn up day one and do the job. So if you've got good skills to offer, yes, it's going to be slightly harder probably than finding a job in your home country, but I don't know, you guys will agree that it's worth
Well,
the effort, right?
It's true. It's about getting the work visa, isn't it? And then it's about applying for residency this after you've got that particular job, which is it's not the cart before the horse. It's you've just got to do it the right process, haven't you? And just be patient.
And how quick does a year go, right? Like a year. Where did even 2025 go?
And also Charlotte, just to mention that, if you're watching this and you will be thinking or listening to this and you'll be thinking, well, like Bri just said, it's a catch-22 because I need a job, and I can't get that until I've got the job. And there are so many people in our Slack community that talk about this all the time, about how can we get a job offer. And there are so many people, just to let you know, there are so many people that they go for the interview, they do a Zoom call, and they are hired. And not only are they hired, these people in New Zealand, these employers in New Zealand are willing to wait for them for their visa to come through. For them to get all their house sorted. And so I just want that to make that clear, because it can be very like, oh, well, what's the point? Like, I'm never going to be able to do it. What's the point? I just want you to be clear that it happens. It really does happen.
It does. Yeah. We've been around since 2009, and most of our clients for that entire duration have been offshore migrants with job offers. So that's kind of been our bread and butter, so to speak. Those have been the vast majority of people, and we've done over 20,000 visas in that time frame. So I think we're sitting up around 23,000 or something at the moment. That's a lot of people, and probably, if I had to put a number on it, 80% of those would have come through with job offers. So it is possible. It just takes perseverance is the key thing. Cool. Moving on to the next one. So 4 points. So for our people who can claim 4 points, much like the 5-point category where you get your 1 extra point from working in New Zealand for 12 months, our 5-point people, and this is kind of where we don't really understand how those points exactly are going to work, but we went from each year of work experience in New Zealand up to a maximum of 3 being able to claim 1 point. So 1 year's work experience was 1 point, 2 years work experience was 2 points, 3 years work experience was 3 points. They're obviously going to change slightly how that works, but our 4-point people will now only have to work in New Zealand for 18 months as opposed to 2 years. So again, they've brought that time frame down. 18 months will fly by if you're here and loving life anyway. So again, very largely focused on qualifications. So honours degrees, postgrad diplomas, graduate certificates gained outside of New Zealand. So again, if you've studied in New Zealand, you're going to have a much faster pathway to residency than those who have studied those qualifications outside of New Zealand. Or if you've studied a bachelor's degree in New Zealand, which is obviously a massive commitment in itself, because that could be 3 or 4 years, they are then saying that after you've made that commitment to the country, you can come and apply for residence after 18 months. Again, some occupational registrations, but have a chat to us, because I'd rather look at quicker options for you, or a job offer that pays 2 times the median wage, which is sitting at $67.12 an hour at the moment. So you're looking at roughly about 145,000 New Zealand dollars a year. So again, if you're quite highly skilled, they want to make sure that you are being able to apply for residence as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Yep, that's all clear.
Easy. And then on to our last one, because I know there's a lot of talking happening from me today, but
you're doing so well.
Oh, thank you.
Well, that's what this is, an informational podcast.
This is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And it is information overload. But our 3 points, so historically the people who were able to claim 3 points had to work in New Zealand for 3 years before being eligible for residence. And that was the longest that anyone had ever had to work in the country to be eligible to apply for a residency visa. So it wasn't making New Zealand attractive. It wasn't motivating migrants to move here or stay here, because that is a long time to spend living in a country before being able to actually be told, yes, you can stay forever. So a good portion of our clients were falling into that 3-point category, and I have a whole cohort who are due to apply for residence this year after having migrated at the end of 2022, or the start of 2023. So that's a long time to wait. So they are changing it. So you do still need a job or job offer that pays at least 1.5 times the median wage, which is $50.34 an hour. So you're sitting in that kind of $90,000 to $100,000 a year pay bracket. So it's quite hard to meet. So if you don't have a bachelor's degree or any form of qualifications, and you've got no trade certificate, this is where people were getting called out, because they had to be earning that really high pay threshold, which, let's be honest, if you're a builder or you're a fitter turner, you're not going to be earning almost 100K a year. So this is where it got really tricky. It is still quite tricky to meet this criteria, I will be honest, but they have brought that if you do meet that criteria and you don't meet any of the other criteria, so you don't meet the new skilled work experience pathway, or you're not on that trades and technicians list, you would only have to work in New Zealand for 24 months as opposed to 3 years to being able to apply. So I actually think now that we've got the skilled work experience pathway and the trades and technicians pathway that we won't actually see that many people applying under this 3-point category. It'll be far less common than the huge cohort I have due to apply for residence soon.
Yeah, when you say about having to have a license or a recognised registration, I always go back to what I had to do. Although I was a licensed plumber, electrician and gas fitter in the UK, no licenses exist for me until I've done the exams. And, there's a lot of things to do. Yes, you can be on a limited license, which means you're under the supervision of someone else, but it's just getting someone to go, yeah, I'll put him on my license. So it's all those tricky things that it's doable. But again, as a builder, you need to be a licensed builder and work under someone who has a license. Yeah.
Correct.
So Charlotte, fantastic, absolutely fantastic presentation. And like I say, it's if you are watching this is going to be massively helpful to you. I just want to ask you, what are you most excited about this changes? If there's one thing that you're most excited about, what would that be?
It's definitely those two complete new pathways. So the trades and technicians and the skilled work experience pathway, because we're going to see a lot of people who will be eligible, who haven't been eligible to date, particularly in that trade space. And New Zealand needs tradies. We really, really do. We have gone through a bit of a downturn the last 12 months, but even we're starting to feel things slowly increasing. So New Zealand's going to need you. We're going to need you to build more infrastructure. We're going to need you to build more houses. And because we need you, we actually then need to say, yes, we recognise how skilled you are and give you a pathway to residency. So it's those people I'm really excited for. It is very much a similar return, even though to 2019 policy, even though it's got different names and it looks slightly different, it is broadening it back up to New Zealand is a really great place to migrate. We will honour your skills. We will appreciate you being here. We will give you a pathway to residency. So that's what I'm excited about. I'm less excited about the revamp of, the 6, 5, 4, 3 points, because we've kind of had that. They've just made it a little bit easier and a little bit faster, which if they'd done that, that's still great, but it still would have left out that massive cohort that these two new pathways will cover.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Exciting.
Well, excited.
Yeah,
like I say, the tradies out there, it's like, get on over here now, can't they?
And Charlotte, as you mentioned before, we've done so many podcasts with you, coming over as a partner, coming over as a student. So you can go back and listen to all those podcasts. And Charlotte is part of our NZ Ahead private membership group, our Slack community. She's got her own channel over there. So you are also there to answer questions. I absolutely love having you on that channel. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Fabian's there as well.
And Fabian,
yes, the wonderful Fabian is there too. Look, we love being part of the community. It's great. I actually love that your community members kind of almost treat us like family as well. So I feel like because we're part of your community, that actually when people become our clients, it actually adds an extra layer of how special that relationship is. I mean, we hold hands through some pretty intimate stuff for people, but because we're part of that massive, amazing group, it kind of makes us feel, it makes you feel like you're friends with people, which I really like. And
really
they often,
does.
I think, feel the same, which is cool.
Yes.
Yeah, especially when you see them all meeting up together and things.
I know.
Send pictures and things. You're just like,
I know. My clients who come through your community and they'll say, we landed in Auckland or wherever and we had coffee or lunch or dinner with such and such, or they picked us up from the airport and they took us around, and I'm like, isn't that so cool to have this virtual community of people that you can just send a message out to and say, hey, I'm landing in wherever, can someone help? And someone's going to put their hand up. And I think that's such a special thing you guys have created.
Yeah, right. I think as we're making this podcast, was it the 21st where you are of January 26, and there's people landing today, I think. Isn't
yeah. There's lots of people coming over in January, so it's really exciting. It's really exciting stuff, and yeah, like I say, I'm so aware of the fact that when you look at this, when you first start applying, when you look into it, I know you guys do a fantastic what's it called? Not a survey that you
free assessment.
Free assessment. That's the word I was looking for.
Our eligibility assessments.
That's right, and that's a great place to start. We'll put all the links down below for your email and reach out to Charlotte there.
Yeah, Charlotte at NZ Shores, just in case I do forget to.
Yes. Correct. Yeah, the eligibility assessment is a really good place to start, and probably the best place to start before you even start looking at cost of living or where you want to live or getting your pets over. Because if you're not eligible for visas or you don't understand what your pathway to residency is, the rest of it's a pretty futile exercise. So definitely reach out. We won't send you something that looks like what you've looked at today. We will send you a nice, beautiful report which says these are your best options. So we take out all the noise, all the jargon, and you'll know, okay, great, I'm coming into the country on a work visa. This is how long I have to work for. These are what my points will look like. So we will simplify it down for you. And then we also, as part of that, will offer a free 30-minute Zoom consultation with a licensed advisor as well. So if you've read that, you think, I still don't understand what the heck these people are saying to me, we can then, talk it through with you as well.
Yeah. And that's, I think simplify is the key word there, is because we're just normal people we just want a different life and a better life in a different country. And we just want it to be as simple as possible, because that's the key thing. And while I've got you, before I let you go, I just want to say a huge thank you, because we have had some people reach out to us privately on our Slack group, Charlotte, telling me that they've been through some stuff with their visas, like, with their job offers and stuff. And it's been quite emotional for them. And they've given you a huge shout out, by the way. They've said they've said Charlotte has just been amazing and held our hand through this. Again, not just saying that because I've got you on the call. I'm saying that because that's the truth, and that's what they've said to me.
That is really lovely to hear. Some days we're advisors, some days we're property managers looking for houses, some days we're counsellors, some days I've got about 60 hats I probably wear in a week. So it's I think the cool thing about New Zealand Shores, and it's, look, I've been with them for 12 years. We don't treat people like a number. You are not a number to us. We know that there is real humans at the end of all of these processes. And even though it's something we do every day, we know life happens, we know grief happens, we know changes happen. And we just get to ride that roller coaster with you. We feel the highs, we feel the lows. And we love being part of it. So if we can make any of it easier, then that's what we love to do.
We're here for you. Exactly. That's exactly right. Well, have we covered everything? Is there anything else that I didn't ask you or Bri didn't ask you that we should have covered?
I don't think so. No? It's definitely information overload today, but big changes coming. So look, if anyone's got questions, feel free to reach out. Even if you're already in the country and you're watching this and you think, I don't understand what this means to me come August, please do reach out and we can look and give you some guidance in that space.
Yeah, and watch out for this space, literally this space, because as soon as you do get an update before they release it, then we'll post it here.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll do another
absolutely.
podcast,
we could probably do a whole other podcast on those tradie lists and whatnot. So absolutely.
Yeah.
And we'll give the minister a call. Add some extra.
I'll give you her email.
Charlotte, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll speak to you on the next podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Pleasure to be here.
All right.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Awesome.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Imagine you are married, or not even married, you can be a partner of a New Zealand citizen. You're living overseas and now you want to move back to New Zealand. How do you do it?
The only difference with that is that Immigration New Zealand want to see that New Zealand will be your established residence. So they don't want people who obtain permanent residence moving back to their home countries and then sponsoring their partners for residency with no intention of actually moving to New Zealand. So they will look for things like...
In this week's episode, we are going to be talking to Charlotte from NZ Shores Immigration Services, and she's going to be telling us everything there is to know about how to obtain a partnership visa so that you and your Kiwi citizen partner can move back to New Zealand and start your new life. Let's jump on in and talk to Charlotte.